In the city, a thriving metropolis encompassing 1/3 billion souls, a man can change his world as easily as crossing the street. It is a place of a million cultures, the world in microcosm. For some, it is their last hope for survival. For others, it is their playground. And for others yet, it is their hunting ground. Isaac Sarason is a talented hacker, a doctor of applied network theory, trusted employee of British Telecom-Sprint. He lived in a world which 90% of his fellow citizens can only imagine. And he has a problem. His health is failing. His job is on the line. His world is crumbling around him. He wants out. And the street is his only escape. What happens when the life you dreamed of is killing you? What do you do when you find yourself hijacked? Colbyjack.net is proud to present Firmware, Hijacked, written and performed by R.L. Ferguson. Firmware, Hijacked, Episode 18, 29. Let's say you have 5 minutes to get the hell out of your apartment. What do you grab? Okay, now let's assume you don't want anyone thinking you're running. Nothing attracts attention at 100 yards more than a guy with a suitcase hurrying down the road. Now you're in the spot I was in. I rushed around the apartment, grabbed my cash, slipped the Opempo Knoll into my pants pocket, and grabbed my Maxwell Reglan. I threw on a suit jacket. Frankie watched out the window. The limo's here. Damn! I saw the BTS team return to their sedan and pull into traffic in my heads-up display. Recovery goons are on the move. I left the apartment and headed toward the back of the building. I tried to pull up a different camera. My hand slipped. A million little boxes filled my HUD, blinding me. I stumbled. "Quit messing around with that thing and move!" Frankie barked. I toggled the display off. We were at the back stairs. Frankie threw the stairwell door open and headed down. The door closed behind me. I stopped and thought. "Not that way," I called. "We need to go up." "Up?" Frankie asked. "We'll be trapped." "This isn't the core." I started up the stairs. The buildings are flush against each other. We should be able to travel the length of the block on the roof. Frankie climbed after me. 5 stories up, we stopped on a landing and caught our breath. "How tall is this building?" Frankie panted. 25 stories. My breath came in ragged pulls. Damn, I was out of shape. While we tried to breathe, I toggled the Opempo Knoll display. A confusion of live streaming security camera video assaulted my eyes. I closed them all. My vision cleared. I searched the camera network again. What I wanted was to find the neighborhood camera map. In the city, a person's recorded from the time they leave their apartment in the morning to the moment they return home at night. There are breaks for bathrooms, if you are lucky, and don't work for a corp with a pervert for a security officer. Apartment buildings have them on the halls for insurance reasons, businesses for loss prevention, the city for automated traffic tickets, pervs for entertainment. In the end, it means hundreds and thousands of separate entities watch us all continuously. The good part is they are all balkanized. No central authority demands a camera exists in a particular location. Usually. The bad part is law enforcement. The City Charter of Rights clearly spells out the limits of privacy for the average citizen. If it happens in front of a camera or in a public space, the cops have a right to it. For corporations, it varies by your employment contract. I have heard of reporters who are required by their network to have their visual and auditory cortexes monitored on a 24-hour basis. From what I hear, many of them wear blindfolds and earplugs while performing personal hygiene. The cops, by their nature, are a lazy lot. We'd rather not spend all day driving around town recovering video files. Thus, the city has mandated law enforcement access to all networks and recording devices not protected by corporate anti-espionage exemptions. The mandated access is remote access. As the boys in blue don't want to exert themselves too much, the camera network system architecture is required to map directly onto the map of the city, just in case the boys in blue wish to take a gander. This is what I searched for. I reopened the camera window for the lobby of Ivanova's. I could see Dmitri, Andrei, Sahar, and Ceci polishing the limo. David was running a hand vac over the dash. "They're getting the car cleaned up," I said. I backtracked through the camera directory, followed the layered structure until I was looking at a map of Sheridan. I toggled a traffic camera on the corner of Sheridan and Tbilisi. The BTS sedan was waiting at the light, its right turn signal on. A Babu boy stood next to it on the curb, waiting for a package. I really needed to find out what those kids were really doing. For a moment I thought, I'd ask Nona. Then I realized I couldn't. Our friends from BTS are on the way. They've just turned onto Sheridan. I toggled the display off. Good, Frankie wheezed. Shall we? He started up the stairs. We paced ourselves better, able to make it to the 17th floor before we had to stop. The air was hot and stale in the stairwell. While we wheezed like old men, I popped back into the camera network. I zoomed in on the map, focusing on the cameras for the floors above Ivanova's. The building had a network of over 200 cameras. I thought of shutting them down. That'd take too long. I logged into the camera on the street. Dmitri and his boys were in a pitched battle with the BTS recovery team. This time, the BTS team was ready for a rumble. 2 black sedans blocked Sergio's limo on both sides, locking it into its parking space. David fought with 2 black suits. A long knife flashed in the morning light. 3 BTS suits were down. Ceci and Zahar lay in pools of their own blood. Dmitri and Andrei fought back to back against the remaining 3. As I backed out of the camera into its settings, I caught a glimpse of David lifting a BTS man off his feet on the point of his knife. In the settings, I found the archive address. I addressed the archive and performed my magic on it. What's happening? Dimitri's boys and the BTS team are beating the shit out of each other out front. We need to get climbing, Frankie said. Less than 5 floors left. 1 minute. I need to set the building archive to maintenance mode and then inform it that it has just received all new drives, I said as I toggled through the system. To be honest, most of what I was doing should have been impossible. The network administrator should have closed off remote admin write permissions to the archive. Then again, I don't think they had an administrator. Could that have been what Sergio wanted me for? They needed a network admin and didn't want to host a table at a job fair. I flipped back to the street camera. The camera still worked. They just weren't storing the recordings. The street scene was pure bedlam. The road before Ivanova's was jammed with at least a dozen black BTS sedans and vans. Mixed among them were cabs, motorcycles, scooters, and cars of every make and model. There were at least 50 men and boys mixing it up with a like number of BTS boys. I caught the glint of a city cop car at the edge of the frame. I toggled out and headed up the stairs. What did you see? Frankie asked as he chased me. All-out war between BTS and Lamideza, I panted. Cops just showed up. Frack! Frankie spat. This just gets better and better. We hit the top of the stairs and stopped. A heavy door blocked our way. I tried the handle. The knob turned with great difficulty. So, Frankie panted, we just head out there and run across the rooftops. That's the plan, I panted. What if the cops have air support? What, copters or gunships? I asked. Exactly, Frankie asked. I don't think Mara wants me to take a bullet for you. If they have gunships, we surrender. Agreed? Agreed. We leaned against the door, our ears listening for any hint of what lay beyond. I counted to 3 and threw the door open. 30. A brisk wind greeted us as we burst onto the roof. Water tanks, blowers, vents, pipes, and wires in thick bundles competed for dominance across the roof. I thought these things were flat, Frankie said. Which way? Back here, I think. I picked my way through the maze of the building's life support. The heavy metal door slammed shut. We jumped as if someone shot at us. The sound of police sirens increased. The fractured wailing of ambulances reached us as a shadow of their true volume. We reached the back wall of the building. Frankie peeked over the safety wall. Alley back here. Can't go that way. We stood and looked down into the abyss which separated us from the building behind Ivanova's. The alley dead ends. I pointed to the left. We just have to find a way down the block. Then we'll cross over to the next street. Wonder what's happening below, Frankie said. I toggled into the street camera. The fighting was over. Blood smears on the street showed where bodies were dragged away. The cops had about a dozen men lying face down on the sidewalk, their hands bound behind them. Fighting's over. Cops have a mixture of corp and locals lying face down on the sidewalk. I flipped through the camera feeds until I found one on the second floor. A predatory figure in a dark suit moved out of frame. Leo's on the second floor. That's the immoral asshole, right? Yes, I said. I toggled out of the system and headed left toward the next building. Frankie followed close behind. After a bit of weaving around, we found ourselves at the edge of Ivanov's, looking down onto the next building 20 feet below us. Thought these things were all the same height, Frankie said in disgust. I always thought so myself. I leaned over the low wall, looking for any way down to the next roof. There's a conduit about 20 yards to the left. We should be able to climb down. Really? I don't know about you, but it's been a long time since I climbed anything. We could always stay here until Leo finds us, I offered. Is he following us? I toggled in. It took a bit to find the stairway cameras. They were in a separate directory tree. I flipped through them rapidly. No Leo, no Leo. I chanted as I went from one camera to another. He's not in the stairwells. Good, Frankie said as he sat down against the wall. I frowned. Leo wouldn't give up. How else would he get up here? Elevators, I gasped. There's an elevator and we didn't use it? Frankie complained. I searched the building security system until I found the elevator monitors. Elevator 2 is moving up. I hunted through the feeds until I found the right one. Found the camera. It's him. Can't see his face, but it's most definitely him. The door is opening. He's getting off. The top floor? I toggled over to the elevator monitor. Top floor. He's on his way. No disrespect, but I don't think I can climb down that. Frankie gestured at the conduit. It's only about 20 feet. We might be able to drop down, I said, looking down the face of the building. There's a lip about 3 feet down. I sat on the ledge and swung my feet over the edge. I froze. How could I do this? If I missed the ledge, I'd surely break something landing. I heard the roof door slam open. I took a deep breath and rolled over. The wall pushed into my stomach. Panic rose in me. I couldn't find the ledge. Frankie reached over me and shoved my legs down onto the narrow decorative border. My other leg, having the first to give it context, found its mark. I shifted my weight onto my legs and started to kneel. I saw a dark shape moving among the maze of equipment on the roof. I'll help you, I offered. Quick, he's coming. Frankie looked over the edge. His face turned white. I can't do it! I glanced in the direction of Leo. It's like those team-building exercises you're always telling me about. Leo saw us. Now! Frankie looked back. His fear of Leo outweighed his fear of heights. Frankie swung over the ledge. I hate those exercises! We kneeled on the ledge, facing the wall. How did I think I was going to swing down from here? Leo's head appeared over the wall. Well, well, what do we have here? It's safe. You don't have to hide here anymore. I shifted to my knees and almost fell. Frankie shifted and lost his balance. He snagged the lip with his fingers for a second and let out a cry of pain. He dropped out of sight. If I didn't know better, Leo sneered, I'd think you were trying to avoid your responsibilities. I looked down. Frankie struggled to his feet. His suit pants were torn. Blood ran down his leg. Come on! He yelled. I swallowed and dropped over the ledge. I caught myself, breaking my fall with my elbows. I hung for a second before dropping. I hit the roof hard. My knees driven into my chest, my head swimming in darkness. Pain shot up my side. Frankie pulled me up. He's got a gun! I panicked. In a blind rush, Frankie shoved me into the maze of pipes and vents. I heard a ripping sound. Frankie stumbled. I dove behind an air conditioner and looked back. Frankie lay on the ground a mere yard from me. There was something wrong with him. Something horribly wrong. A pool of blood expanded across the rooftop, centered beneath Frankie. I reached for his hand. I heard the ripping sound again. Frankie's arm shredded. I pulled back into the safety of the air conditioner's shadow. In my hand was Frankie's hand and arm up to the elbow. The rest of him lay pulverized into a red smear across the rooftop. My breathing came ragged. Frankie was dead. What the frack? My mind ran in weird directions as Frankie's blood slowly flowed across the roof toward me. I watched it, mesmerized. A drop touched my feet. I ran blind across the rooftop, not knowing where to go, only knowing that safety lay within the maze of equipment. The ripping sound chased me. There was a sound like heavy rain after each shot and a tinkling of glass. I didn't look back. I ran until I ran out of roof. This work is released under Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, Share-alike license. Do what you want with it. Remix it, re-record it, transcribe it, share it. Just don't sell it or change the terms of the license. Your creation must be released under an Attribution, Non-Commercial, Share-alike license. Thank you for listening and have a nice day.